Hello again, everybody. It's Scott Casper, Takedown Media, the Nike hot seat filled not with one but two. Today, we're talking about the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, uh, Downstate New York edition. And joining us today is Jerry Seckler. And I gotta say, Jerry, you've got a very special guest sitting next to you as well.
That's Pascal Perry.
Pascal Perry. Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Good morning, Scott.
Good morning to both of you. Pascal, you're the vice president. Jerry, the president. You're sitting in the offices of the Downstate New York chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. The purpose of the call today, of course, talking about the 21st Annual Awards and Induction Ceremony that take place Friday, April 24th. Tickets on sale now. Let's talk a little bit about those that are being honored this year, guys. Can we start with you, Jerry? Who's the dinner host?
The dinner host is none other than Tom Ryan from Ohio State, who also happens to be one of our local wrestlers in high school and coached locally as well here on Long Island.
Is it some kind of a coincidence that you set this up well in advance of Ohio State winning its first NCAA title and Tom Ryan being named the Coach of the Year?
We were pulling for him, so
We thought Ohio State was ready this year.
Oh,
Tom had a number of red shirts over the last year or so, and they were ready to go.
things just seem to kind of fall into place for the surging Buckeyes of Ohio State. So Tom Ryan will serve as the host of the dinner, the MC, if you will, and then along with Tom, and I'm sure you'll be honoring him that evening as well. But you'll be also honoring several men. We'll start with Paul Bass, and we'll get to our outstanding American. But we'll start with Paul Bass. Talk to us a little bit about Paul Bass and the balance of those being honored.
Well, Paul Bass is a local coach. For those people that don't really know Long Island, Long Island is 120 miles long and probably about 25 miles wide at its widest point. And on the far eastern end is West Hampton Beach and Paul Bass. And he's been a very, very successful coach and has done a wonderful job. And we're very pleased that he's going to be entering the Hall of Fame as part of our class of this year.
Okay, the class of 2015.
2015.
Frank Carrazzo is also
Yes.
being inducted.
Frank Carrazzo was an athletic director. He was I think place winner in the Nationals as an athlete. Wrestled at matter of fact, I think they both wrestled at Bloomsburg.
I think you're right, yes.
Both Bass and
of course, he did a lot of coaching over the years.
Now, coaching, athletic director, contributors, people who have given to the sport above and beyond, that's pretty much the description of somebody who is eligible. But the entire board of directors and the selection committee must vote on the people that are being selected and those that ultimately get in. Is that correct?
yes, matter of fact, we have a whole committee and Hall of Fame chairman who is not at the meeting. He's full-time office on the other end of town, and they meet and deliberate on the decisions as to who to select based on people that have been recommended from the community, the wrestling community.
Okay, so it's a community involvement as well. We're talking.
It must be grassroots level to start with.
All right. We're talking with Pascal Perry, the Vice President, Jerry Seckler, the President of the Downstate New York chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Their awards and induction ceremony take place Friday, April 24th. The host, again, Tom Ryan. We talked a little bit about Paul Bass, Frank Carrazzo. Robert Emmons is next up on my list of those being recognized.
Bobby Evans, again, was a very successful wrestler locally. And then he wrestled out at Moorhead State, and he was a member of the only undefeated team in Valley Stream Central, which was a very good wrestling school, but only had one. Harold Earl, the coach, only had one undefeated team, and Emmons was on that team and a leader of that team. Also coached as a head coach and as an assistant coach in several places, including assisting Paul Bass.
David Ironman, David G. Ironman, is also on this list of distinguished men.
Very interesting guy that's been tremendously involved in wrestling. in an island near Long Island called Staten Island, right off New York City. David is an attorney who has spent his avocation promoting wrestling in a local parochial school on Staten Island, and has been very successful in promoting wrestling also in Florida, state of Florida. So he's been a big supporter and avidly involved in wrestling both in New York, New Jersey, and in Florida.
I love it. James Rooney is also on the list of men being saluted.
Jimmy Rooney's been an official for 50, I believe it's 52 or 53 years. Locally, he's done a lot of work with the Pee-wees, the JVs, with the varsity. He's done some college work, and he was a big choice of the officials group, and they sponsored him, and he was selected by the committee. Well deserved.
Well deserved indeed. How about Ron Russo?
Ronnie Russo actually was my assistant coach at Columbia University, and then became the head coach and was very successful. He had 20 years at Columbia. Ron was a place winner in the Division III Nationals, also for Bloom in Pennsylvania, and is presently coaching in the state of Michigan as a high school coach in his retirement. And he's a very prominent high school wrestler here, prominent coach locally, and nationally has a great reputation.
You've got an outstanding cast of those being recognized. Paul Schmidt is in there, as well as a great friend of mine and fellow broadcaster at times, John Tush.
Have you met Paul Schmidt?
I have met Paul Schmidt.
And you realize he's won 7 titles in the junior college national ranks for his team.
An absolute amazing individual, talented athlete. I actually met him a couple years ago, but I found it very interesting that you would include him on the list. I knew he'd get there at some point. To be recognized for the National Hall, first they have to be recognized by the local chapters, and you guys are doing exactly that.
Yeah. Paul just an amazing job in a local Nassau Community College, and a very unsung hero in wrestling, in our opinion.
Well, exactly. I think that's the purpose, really, of the local chapters, is to make sure that those unsung heroes, their stories do get told. And John Tush is another example of that. He has wrestled with example, or by example. His body, his physique, his ability to coach is beyond reproach. His ability to describe action as he sees it when on camera is outstanding. John's just so much fun to work with.
Yes, he's been a pleasure, and he's very excited about the nomination, and we get to talk to him almost every day.
Folks, the cocktails start at 6 o'clock. The 4th Annual Wrestling Expo will take place 7:30, the dinner and ceremony. When? Friday, April 24th. We surely want you to be a part of this 21st Annual Awards and Induction Ceremony. We have one special individual that we have yet to talk about. He's become a motion picture star. He was born in Brooklyn, New York. His name is Steve Buscemi. Steve is the star of a hit television show right now on HBO called Boardwalk Empire. How did you come to select Steve Buscemi for the Outstanding American Honors?
Steve wrestled at Valley Stream Central, as a matter of fact, at the same school that Emmons had wrestled in, and the same school that I wrestled in. And actually, I got a chance to coach Steve for a few weeks when the head coach there had gotten sick. He's an outstanding individual who's done an amazing job in Hollywood and in TV. And we thought, what a great example for people to be aware of a guy like Steve actually having a wrestling background and a serious wrestling background.
He was a very good wrestler, actually, wasn't he?
He was darn good, yes. He was a divisional place winner, etc. In a very tough league.
He's become a popular character actor, and for some of you that may not know this, also a director and screenwriter, so his ability to multitask in the world of film and television is phenomenal, well respected, and he has one of the faces that you never forget.
Yes, he certainly does he's not the exactly normal star of TV in Hollywood.
Steve,
He goes to a whole different direction.
honest to goodness. Well, again, folks, we want to invite you, and on behalf of the president, Jerry Seckler, and Pascal Perry, two men who do so much for our sport, and by golly, gentlemen, we want to thank you. The rest of your board of directors is made up of some outstanding people. Some I know very well, like Neil Duncan and Bill Crum and Roy Scott and Noel Thompson, etc. But you've got a board of directors that is second to none. Nick Gallo on there as well.
Yes, we've known Nick, and we've known all of those guys since they were in high school. So they're family.
Family, and that's what wrestling should be about. If we end up at the end of the day forgetting about the wins and losses, but understand what we take away from this sport, that is indeed family. It is that sense of community, and that's why the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Downstate New York chapter is so strong, even after all these years, because you guys have recognized that. A strong board of directors, I should say. Peter Vanier is your treasurer, Jack Friedman of council, of course, but the officers that make up the individuals that direct this. You've got a wonderful staff member in office now, in answering the phones at least half of the day as well. Would you like to recognize her?
That's Chris Rodrigo, and she works. So we have office hours 4 days a week from 9 till 12. So we have a formal office, and we inhabit that office all week and end up spending the rest of the day working on wrestling as well.
I look back upon those past distinguished members and outstanding members and outstanding officials, and the names are incredible, including Henry Wittenberg, William Farrell, our great benefactor and wonderful friend, Dr. Vince Warrow, Pascal Perry, outstanding official in '95. Just so many. Rune Arledge back in '92.
Yeah, of course you're familiar with the fact that most of the officials organizations in this country have been started by Pascal Perry.
Well, it's because Pascal always knows what he's talking about. And the one that I'll leave you fellas with this morning as an outstanding American doing so in 2007, you guys rightfully recognized our good friend, the late Cedric Agonian, a man who did so much for the sport of wrestling because it did so much for him. And we want to recognize him for the effort and all the work he put into it. And, of course, his name will forever be enshrined in the National Wrestling Hall of Fame Downstate New York chapter. I can't thank you guys enough for the quality work you do, for the organizational skills you bring to it. Again, fans, we want to invite you to be a part of this event April 24th. It'll be at the Melville Marriott right there on Walt Whitman Road in Melville, New York. You can get more information, surely, by calling the office at 516-804-8676. The Friends of Long Island Wrestling is always a 501c3 organization. All contributions are tax deductible by law. You can get your ad in the dinner program, which we encourage you to do. It helps to pay for the dinner and keep things affordable. But it's been our pleasure today to talk to Jerry Seckler and the great Pascal Perry as well. Fellas, anything I have not hit on that you desperately want to touch on?
Oh, you did great. I guess that one of our claims to fame is that we are the second chapter of the Hall of Fame, Pennsylvania being the first, and we've got a long career with it. And we also run the largest dinners as far as the number of people attending in the nation, and this still will be larger than anything we've had in the past.
Guys, I congratulate you. I'm looking forward to the dinner April 24th, where Tom Ryan comes to town, the head coach from The Ohio State University, the National Coach of the Year. And then, of course, the honorees, Bass, Carosa, Emmons, Ironman Rooney, Russo, Schmidt, Tush, and, of course, Steve Buscemi. So the stars truly will be out on Friday, April 24th. I thank you for your time, guys.
Scott, thank you. We enjoyed the interview.
God bless you guys. Friends of Long Island Wrestling at gmail.com, or one more time, the phone number 516-804-8676. 8676. In the Nike hot seat today, two very fine gentlemen, highly respected in this sport, Jerry Seckler and Pascal Perry, the president and vice president of the downstate New York chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.
Have a great day.